Hundreds of firecrackers have been confiscated following a blitz by law enforcement authorities in Johannesburg. Police and Joburg Emergency Services officials raided a number of shops that sell firecrackers in the Jo'burg CBD to check for compliance with the city's bylaws as it relates to the selling and storing of fireworks. Johannesburg Emergency Services spokesperson Nana Radebe joins us now in the studio. Thank you so very much for joining us and giving us your time.
Thank you.
As a start, out of the 25 outlets that you targeted yesterday, how many were found to not be compliant, and how do you measure compliancy?
We found about 11 that were not complying. Most had the compliance certificate that you need to have when you want to sell. But when we go down to check their storage, you'd find that the storage, they're incorrectly stored. Fireworks that are mixed with food parcels, some were mixed with blankets, and which is very dangerous. When you have fireworks, you have to store them in a place that is cool, where there's ventilation, and they need to be separated from everything that is around that area. So the most problematic thing with most of the shops that we visited was the storage.
Now, what happens, I can imagine that a lot of people have managed to sneak in, even though they were not compliant, have been able to sell. I mean, there's some guys on the streets who are selling on the corners, even today. What are the repercussions for those found to be selling and buying, those that are from shops that are not compliant?
Most of the shops that were not compliant, we had managed to give them a fine. Okay. But because we're with SABC and JMPD, they had confiscated the fireworks that were not stored correctly, and the ones that were kept nearby where people could just reach them. It needs to be stored in a glass cabinet, and it needs to be behind the counter where no one can be able to reach it.
And what are the advice that you can give community members who are today going to be, discharging fireworks? I mean, we've heard earlier from the SPCA, who are actually calling for a ban altogether of fireworks and saying that they want to see a South Africa that doesn't have celebrate with fireworks. What are some of the advice that you're giving to community members? Of course, those that are compliant.
The most important thing would be to adhere to times. Fireworks should be done between 10 p.m. until 1 a.m. in the morning. If we could try to adhere to those times, and as well, let's remember other people have dogs, cats. Let us be mindful of those, and those that do own pets, let's move them away from wherever that they could get hurt. And also, there's many kids that are dealing with fireworks. As parents, let's take the initiative. Let's assist those kids, because on the first, we don't want to have incidents where kids are injured because of fireworks.
And speaking of injuries, I mean, the festive season, I can imagine, is probably a very busy time for emergency services. What have been some of the sort of typical emergencies you've had to respond to that are, I suppose, typical to the festive season kind of emergencies?
Mostly it would be motor vehicle and pedestrian accidents. We've seen a number of those during the Christmas Day. We had a number of pedestrian accidents, and when you speak to JMPD, this would be mainly because of people that were drunk, and motor vehicle accidents as well. When they check and have their records, it's because people were drunk. And we've also had incidents where kids are involved. Kids are at home, some get bored. The other day at a shopping mall, a kid was stuck between a lift and the shaft, where we'd had to take out the kids. And we are saying to parents, let's come on board. Let's make sure that the safety of kids, it's our priority. What's
the first thing to do, in case of an emergency? I mean, off air, I was having a chat with my executive producer, and, he was talking to me about a story where, he had some children over at the house of the festive season, and one had a nut allergy, and, he wasn't aware. And I mean, these are typical things that, we'll be dealing with, especially when you have children at the house that are perhaps not your own children. Panic always sets in, especially when a child is sort of been injured or hurt. What is the first point of reference? What can you take us through, when we're about to call you, for instance? What do we do in those crucial couple of minutes?
I think the most important thing to do is to make sure that you call the emergency services. As you are calling the emergency services, our call center, you have someone that will assist you. I know mostly in when people are in accidents, we tend to say that we want to take someone out of the vehicle, and we might not know at the time the injuries of that person if we are further elevating those injuries. So the first thing that you need to do, call us on 10177 or 112 from your cell phone. The person that you'll be speaking to has medical qualifications, and they'll be able to assist you. If someone has convulsions, they'll be able to tell you, put them in their left position, do this. They'll be able to give you medical advice that you would not have at the time.
All right, so that emergency number 10177. I think that the team will put it on the screen for us so that you have it readily for you at hand. And then just in terms of you talk about people that the accidents and that you found later on that those people perhaps were under the influence. And I mean, this is something that even JMPD has been talking about. We even heard the Minister of Transport talking about this. Are you all working hand in hand in terms of dealing with the situation? And it does seem that some people are just not heeding the call to stop drinking and driving.
We definitely are working together with JMPD, as today will be in the surroundings of Hillbrow and other areas where we've identified as high risk, where we've received most calls that are motor vehicle accidents or pedestrian vehicle accidents. And we are still urging people, do not drink and drive, and make sure that when you drink and walk, you have someone that can accompany you, because most of them tend to be walking inside the roads and where they do get hurt.
All right, thank you so very much for giving us your time, and of course that number again, 10177 for those.
10177 from your landline and 112 from the cell phone.
All right, thank you very much.